Naming newborns, a dying science, even in the region of its origin, as imagination temporarily overtakes intelligence, not artificial but real, natural. Namaskaram and Jai Hind, folks. In Bharatiya Vedic Sanatana Dharma in general, and in Veda Bhasha, Sanskritam in particular, each and every name and its corresponding form are intricately unified in an inherently perfect resonance. Hence, our names are far more about the sound vibes of the very nature or dharma of the form they are associated with, rather than mere spellings, which again have a one is to one correspondence with the sounds thanks to the phonetic nature of the rich Devanagari, unlike Tamil and English, and all derivative scripts too of Devanagari in most of the Bharatiya languages, except Tamil and Malayalam perhaps. Welcome to Katham.in's 503rd episode. This time on birth star quarter based naming of newborns. Janma nakṣatra pāda ādhārita nāmakarana. Throwing light on sound. Well, Deepavali is still far away. But have you ever wondered how the traditional festival of a row of lights, Deepa Avali, transformed also into a festival of sounds, crackers, firecrackers, fireworks? Though allopathy has for long bifurcated two of the five intricately correlated senses into ophthalmology and ENT specializations, clarity of light and sound vibes remain deeply correlated. So let me begin with a very simple question to each and every one of you watching this video. When you hear a name like Rama or Shivananda, does it feel different inside you compared to hearing Krishna or Lalita? Not just as ideas, but as vibrations in your own mouth, your tongue, your chest, your nervous system. In the ancient Jyotiṣa tradition, this was not poetry or metaphor. It was taken as a precisely analyzable science of sound tied to astronomy, psychology, and even to the very structure of the Sanskrit alphabet itself. In this video, I want to take you through that science. How? We will look at how Sanskrit sounds are systematically organized according to the actual positions of the tongue and lips in the mouth with respect to the teeth and the palate, how Jyotiṣa maps 108 specific starting syllables into the 108 pādas of the 27 nakṣatras, and how the moon or Chandra, as the karaka of the manas, mind, emotional mind, the heart, becomes the diagnostic pointer to which one of these 108 sounds, seed positions, dominates your inner landscape, or the other way around, depending on your spiritual evolution. In other words, why the very first syllable of your name, your nama, is not an accident, but is ideally a conscious choice aligned with the exact slice of sky your natal moon is traveling through. In section 1, Jyotiṣa, moon and the 108 lunar gateways will be covered. In classical Jyotiṣa, the most intimate indicator of the mind is Chandra, the moon of the 9 grahas. The moon is fast moving. Only Lagna is faster, subtle and reflective as well. It shows not just what happens to you, your mind, but how you experience it. Experience and product design, you see. Your moods, instincts, your basic sense of emotional safety. It's all indicated by the moon as an external diagnostic. Now, along the ecliptic, Vedic seers divided the zodiac not only into 12 zodiac signs but into 27 nakshatras, lunar mansions, and each nakshatra is again divided into 4 equal pādas, giving us 27 nakshatras into 4 pādas equal to 108 distinct lunar gateways of 3 degree 20 minutes each. At the moment of birth, the moon will be in one particular nakshatra pada. In Jyotiṣa, this is your Janma nakshatra pada, your specific lunar doorway into life of the emotional mind or heart. Over time, tradition did something very beautiful and very systematic. It associated each one of these 108 pādas with one specific starting syllable, one nakshara, used for naming. So when we say children born with moon in Ashwini, first pada, should preferably be named with the syllable Chu, or Rohini, third pada, let's say, with we are really saying this child's emotional mind is marked by this precise lunar sound coordinate in a 108-fold grid. Let's come to section 2, where we will cover Sanskrit sound signs, varṇamālā as a map of the mouth. To really appreciate the elegance of this, we need to step into the sound signs of Sanskrit itself. Unlike many modern alphabets, including English, the Sanskrit varṇamālā, the so-called alphabet, is not random. It is a map of the human vocal tract. Classical Shiksha texts and modern phonetic summaries tell us that sounds are classified by the sthana, place of articulation, and prayatna, the manner of articulation. If you slowly recite k, k, g, g, ñ, ch, ch, j, j, ñ, t, t, d, d, n, th, th, d, d, n, p, p, b, b, m, you can literally feel your tongue moving from the throat or kantya for the gutturals to the palate, talavya for the palatals, to the cerebral ridge, murdhanya for the retroflexes, to the teeth, dantya for the dentals, and finally to the lips, ostya for the labials. The arrangement is physiological and acoustic. Sounds start deep inside and progressively move outward. Unvoiced, aspirated, voiced, nasal in each varga. Then the semivowels ya, ra, la, va, and the sibilants sh, sh, sa, and ha are added as a kind of outer halo around this core matrix. Modern research on akshara based Indic scripts has noted how these syllabic units or aksharas are cognitively real. They are not just letters, but stable chunks of sound plus script that our brain handles as holistic units. So, from both the traditional side and the modern cognitive side, Sanskrit sound is syllabic and articulatory based. This is exactly the level at which the 108 nakṣatra syllables are defined, not arbitrary letters, but concrete, pronounceable aksharas that sit naturally in this varṇamālā grid. Now let's come to section 3, where we will cover the 108 seed syllables, structure and examples. Now, how does the nakṣatra system actually use this sound or the sound map? That's what Katham is all about. For each of the 27 nakshatras, tradition fixes 4 preferred starting syllables, one for each pada. Don't mix them up. These are almost always simple aksharas of the form a pure vowel like a, I, U, E, O, or consonant plus vowel, CV, we will call it, like li, mu, ke, bha, and so on. So let me give you a concrete example. For Ashwini, the very first nakshatra in the zodiac, the 4 syllables are chu, che, cho, la. So, a child born with moon in Ashwini Pada 1 might be named Chuti or Chupya. The first full akshara is Chu or Ch, Chandrasekhar. Pada 4, on the other hand, Lalita or Lakshmana, depending on girl or boy, starting with La or La. For Magha, another well-known nakshatra belonging to Ketu, the 4 pādas syllables are Ma, Mi, Mu, Me. Here you can clearly see same consonant 4 different vowels. This is not astrologers making up random lists, my dear friends. It directly mirrors the internal vowel structure of the Sanskrit sound system. If we list out all 27 into 4 seeds, 108 seeds, what we find is about 5 pure vowel onsets and over 100 CV consonant vowel aksharas that sample from across all the major consonant classes and main vowels. When we analyze them by place of articulation, we see roughly gutturals like ka, ke, ko, ku, about 13 seeds. Palatals like cha, cha, ju, je, nya, about 12 seeds. Retroflexes like ta, ti, di, da, na, about 13. Dentals like ti, to, da, du, da, na, about 18. Labials like ma, me, mo, bu, ma, about 16. Semivowels, ya, ra, la, va, about 20 seeds. Sibilants, her, sa, she, who, hi, etc. about 11, plus the 5 pure vowels that I already mentioned. So the nakṣatra grid deliberately samples the entire vocal tract from the throat to the lips and from open vowels to high front and back vowels. Section 4, we will cover 3 layers of phonetic logic in this mapping that we just discussed. What is the logic behind it? From this, we can tease out 3 layers of logic in how these 108 syllables were chosen in the first place by great Jyotiṣas. First, simplicity of the akshara. Almost all seeds are open syllables, either a pure vowel like a, I, U, E, O, or one consonant plus one vowel, CV, what we call li, bhu, te, so, etc. There are essentially no consonant clusters as seeds. The one special case, of course, is nya, which Sanskrit, of course, treats as a single akshara anyways. This matches what we know from speech or speech science, as modern science calls it. These simple CV or V units are the most natural for the human vocal tract. And in Akshara based scripts, they are the fundamental processing units of reading as well as speech. Second, internal vowel pattern within each nakṣatra. Within a single nakṣatra, the 4 syllables are usually closely related. Not always, but usually. Sometimes the same consonant with 4 vowels like ma, mi, mu, me, for example, for maga, sometimes a pair of related consonants with coordinated vowels like va, ve, vo in the case of Rohini or ta, te, to in the case of Vishakha. This gives each nakshatra a kind of mini raga of sounds, a family of aksharas that are acoustically similar, sitting near each other in the mouth and in the varṇamālā and in the sky, cosmos. Third, symbolic placement of sharper sounds. The more marked sounds, like say the retroflexes, t, d, aspirates like g, d, ya, the hard sibilants are not scattered randomly. They are clustered in nakshatras, whose deities and qualities are intense, sharp, transformative, like Dakini or Dhamari. Ardra, for example, associated with Rudra, my daughter's nakṣatra, contains ku, ga, ya, cha, ra, storm-like, guttural and palatal sounds. Australasia is full of di, do, de, do, sticky, biting, retroflex stops. Purvashada brings bu, dha, bha, dha, strong labial and dental retroflex power syllables. So even within the consonant inventory, which aksharas are assigned to, which lunar sectors reflects both articulatory and symbolic thinking or meditative download. Section 5. What about missing syllables and complex names? Of course, the Sanskrit phonetic space is very rich, much richer than just these 108 consonant vowels, CVs. There are many combinations that do not appear as primary seeds. Example, diphthongs like I, ow, vocalic like r, r, aspirated series like k, j, f, in all vowels, and cluster onsets like shra, ksha, tra, dra, spra, and so on. Yet, real world names constantly begin with these. So, how does Nama Nakshatra practice handle them? Traditional manuals on naming principles say very explicitly, in a conjunct akshara, we often take the last full consonant of the first syllable as the operative one. For example, Shrikant, starting with Shri. Effective onset is, however, Ra, mapped via Ra or Re, seeds. Kshama, for example, is a name starting with Ksha. Many schools treat this as Sha or Ka using the appropriate seed. For aspirated consonants, on the other hand, aspiration is considered a secondary feature like Ka, Ga, Cha, Ja, etc. Ta, Da, Pa, Bha in some Purvashada lineages. For diphthongs and vocalicer onsets like Aishwarya, Aushadhi, Rishabha, the system either reduces the vowel to a simpler A, O, Ri or Ru, because semi vowel you see, and maps via that, or skips to the next consonant for the effective akshara. So the 108 seeds are not a complete consonant vowel catalog, CV catalog. They are a canonical grid onto which all actual names are projected by these reduction rules. Remember, the grahas are projection from inside us. So these two. This maintains both practical flexibility and systematic coverage of the entire sound space. Now let's come to section 6. Sound, mind, and the moon is what we will cover here. Why repetition matters. Now, let us come back to the psychological and spiritual dimension. Why does all this matter? What's in a name? Why does it matter, especially for the mind? In the Vedic conception of manas, shabda or sound is not just a neutral signal. It is a primary expression of consciousness, atma. And each akshara is treated as a bija, a seed of existence, a bija mantra. Classical texts speak of four levels of speech. First of all, paravak, the unmanifest sound at the highest level. Then we say pashyanti vak, the visionary, intuitive sound. Then thirdly, madhyama vak, the inner mental world. And finally, vaikari vak, the fully articulated external speech. Modern acoustic and cognitive research, from a completely different angle, they see outside, we see inside, has shown that modern cognitive science has shown that syllable based writing systems like the Indic Akshara scripts, Sanskrit and all most of Indian languages, are deeply tied to how we chunk and process sound in the brain, and that repeated aksharas build strong, stable phonological representations that influence reading, memory, and affect. Put these insights together, and a very clear picture emerges. Every time your name is spoken by you or by others, the same initial akshara is repeatedly activated in the speech motor system, the auditory system, and the mental speech loop. If that akshara has been consciously chosen to resonate with your moon's nakṣatra, Manas nakṣatra, and pāda, you are in effect entraining the emotional mind, the heart, the Chandramayi Manas to that particular lunar sound pattern. Over years and decades, that repeated pattern becomes like a sonic mantra attached to your identity. Usually we call only Vedic mantras, but this is also mantra in a sense. It colors how you feel about yourself. Whenever you hear your own name, and how you respond when others call you by your name. These days people use nicknames, unfortunately, but so, this ancient naming by star and its Pāda practice is not a superstition, my dear friends, about letters. No, it is an applied science of Vak and Chitta consciousness, using a physically precise sound system of Sanskrit varṇamālā, the Devanagari script, anchored in astronomically precise lunar positions of 27 into 408 to shape the subtle emotional body, what we call as manas, through the most frequently repeated sound in your life, your name. And all of this is read diagnostically through the moon's position in one of those 108 Janma Nakshatra Pādas. Now let's come to section 7, bringing it all together for you, the viewer, my dear friends of Katham. Let me summarize this mapping in simple practical terms without losing the depth. First of all, figure out exactly where your natal moon is. Not just Rashi, but Nakshatra and Pāda. For example, moon in Magha, Pāda 2. Second, look up the corresponding seed syllable from the reliable 108 Akshara table that I'm projecting besides my video. For Maga Pada 2, you can see that's me. Me. For Ashwini Pada 1, it's Chu. For Rohini Pada 3, it's V, and so on. Now, third, when you choose or analyze a name, look at the first full Akshara phonetically, not just the script, especially in English, please know. Srimati, for example, often counts as Shri and therefore Ri or Shri, depending on parampara. Kshitij or Kshitijaha, for example. The first full akshara is Kshi or Shi. You map via K or Sh. Dhruva, often reduced to Dhru or Ru, then mapped via a Ra or Ru seed. And fourth one, finally understand that by aligning that first akshara with your Janma Nakshatra Pada, you are synchronizing three things: the astronomical reality of moon's position, the physiological reality of how that akshara is formed in your vocal tract, and the psychological reality of how repeated sound patterns condition the mind, or manas, the heart. This is the deep ancient science of Jyotiṣa as a science of light and sound. Light in the form of the moon's precise position, clarity along the ecliptic. Sound in the form of Sanskrit aksharas systematically organized by place of articulation in the mouth. And mind in the form of your emotional responses and self image, constantly being tuned by the name you answer to. This is a closing invitation before I get into the details for those who are interested more in it. So, in closing, for the special invitees to do a small experiment, take your own name, whatever it is, break it into proper Sanskrit aksharas with Devanagari or even IAST transliterations, which I prefer. If you can, find your Janma Nakshatra Pada in the table that I have here. Identify its seed syllable and then ask, does my name begin with that akshara? Or at least a close phonetic cousin of it? If not, how would it feel in my mouth, my chest, and my heart if it did? When you chant your own name slowly, like a mantra, you are effectively ringing a particular combination of lunar and articulatory bells inside your system. Understanding the 108-fold mapping of nakshatra padas to starting syllables is really about understanding the deep resonance between the sky, the sound, and the subtle mind. That is the magic, my dear friends, and the science of this aspect of Jyotish. One small aspect of Jyotish. Yes. So, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If only you are adventurous enough to travel with me all the way, or even better and faster, travel within yourself. Nay, ourself. Each of the 27 into 4, 108 Janma Nakshatra Padas are associated with a unique starting sound syllable. For naming infants, born with their moon appearing in that nakṣatra of the zodiac at the time of birth, as seen from the place of birth relative to an earth fixed frame of reference, accounting for the precession of the earth's axis of rotation. Going back to the original Jyotish and Vedic sources, to the systematic ordering of the vowels and consonants in the Sanskrit alphabet, Panini, and to the science of how these sounds are actually generated by human vocal cords using different positions of the tongue relative to the palate, that is the top portion of the mouth, teeth, and lips in the mouth. What are the primary, secondary, and tertiary phonetic logics or rules involved in these Janma Nakshatra Padas to sound syllables assignments or mappings, conformal mappings? For wider dissemination, I recommend using both Sanskrit and that is Devanagari and IAST fonts, like I'm doing here, for all non English words and sound syllables, while clearly illustrating this logic for all the 108 options. Let us check if any of these sounds are repeated, that is, for more than one Janma Nakshatra Pada. Also, we will examine all the remaining consonant vowel CV combinations which have not been assigned to any one of these 108 Janma Nakshatras, haven't been assigned, and speculate on the reasons involved for their non inclusion with examples of traditional names which come under this category. The 108 Nama Nakshatra syllables are a post Vedic Jyotiṣa convention, let me admit that map each Nakshatra Pada to a simple Sanskrit akshara, mostly consonant vowel or plain vowel, as we already saw. Phonetically, the system prefers easy open syllables drawn from across the Varga based consonant inventory and basic vowels, because they are compound vowels also, with a few intentional overlaps and many allowable near equivalent substitutions for real world naming. Because parents have many constraints these days, very unfortunate. Historical and textual background. Early Vedic and Vedanga Jyotisha sources enumerate the 27 or sometimes 28, including Abhijit Nakshatra, and their four padas, but which will take to 108 to 112, but they do not give a full 108 or 112 syllable naming table. The explicit one akshara per pada scheme appears clearly only in later Jyotisha, not in Brihat Parashara Horat, for example, and Paddhati literature in modern exposition. Vedanga style Jyotisha manuals, Sarvato Bhadra Chakra treatments, etc. Modern tables, example in the Himalayan Academy, wonderful work by Sadhguru Shivaya Subramanya Swami, Wikipedia, Vedic Marga, Vedic Feed, agree on the basic 108 slots with minor regional variants, especially for Ardra and Shravana, Shiva and Vishnu's nakshatras. So the mapping below reflects this widely used consensus rather than a single directly cited Vedic sutra. Sanskrit sound system and akshara logic is what we'll look at next. Classical phonology Shiksha, varṇamālā organizes sounds by vowels or swara, உயிர் எழுத்துக்கள் in Tamil. A, A, I, I, U, U, E, I, O, Au, R, etc. Aha. Organized by the tongue height and front back position. Just notice that. Keep saying and notice that. And consonants. Vyanjanani. Vyanjanani. 5 vargas by place of articulation. மெய்யெழுத்து, velar, palatal, retroflex, dental, labial. Each with unaspirated or aspirated, voiced or unvoiced, plus nasals. 5. Plus semi-vowels and sibilants. The akṣara or syllabic unit is typically just a vowel or a consonant vowel, or CCV or triple CV in conjuncts. In Nama Nakṣatra practice, nearly all seeds are single open aksharas with a simple onset and a basic vowel. Example, Mi, Ru, Sha. This is the primary phonetic constraint. Sounds must be easy to utter, clearly segmentable, breaking into parts, and stable across Indic languages, different languages across the Bharat subcontinent. Full 108 nakṣatra pāda syllables is what we look at next. The standard 27/4 table with one syllable per pāda, where traditions differ, va, ba, etc. It will indicate the main Sanskrit form and note common alternatives. Nakṣatra pāda, akṣatra table, what you see besides me, right? Nakṣatra IAST, Devanagari, in both I have listed, from Pāda 1 to Pāda 4. Let's start with the first nakṣatra, Ashwini. Chu, Che, Cho, La, depending on the Pāda. Next, Bharani. La, Lu, Le, Lo. Next, you see Kritika, right? A, I, U, A, all vowels. Rohini, in which the moon is exalted. O, Vo, Va, often also Ba. Vi, also B sometimes. Vu, also Bu. Bengalis, you see, get confused in Va and Ba. Mrigashirsha, the next nakshatra. Also Be, Vo or Bo, Ka, Ki. Next is Ardra, Shiva's nakshatra. Ku, Gha, conventionally Ga. Nya, Cha or Cha in some lists. Next we come to Punarvasu. Ke, Ko, Ha, Hi. Pushya. Hu, He, Ho and Da or Da. Ashlesha. Di, Du, De, Do. Next, Maga. Ma, Mi, Mu, Me. Next, Purva Phalguni. Mo, Ta, Ti, Tu. Next, Uttara Phalguni. Te, To, Pa, Pi. For the 4. Hasta. Pu, Sha, Sha or Na, Tha. Chitra. Pe, Po, Ra, Ri. Swati, you see, Ru, Re, Ro and Ta, the 4 padas. Vishaka, my nakshatra. Ti, Tu, Te, To. Anuradha. Na, Ni, Ne, Jeshta. No, Ya, Yi, You. Mula. Ye, Yo, Bha, Bhi. Purva Ashada. Bhu, Dha, Pha or Pha. Some traditions take bha also, Bengali. Da. Uttarashada. Bhe, bho, ja, and ji. Shravana or Shravana. Ki, ju, ku, or j. Ke or jo. Ko or gha. So many options, you see. Vishnu's nakṣatra. Dhanishta. Gha, gi, gu, ge. Now, Shatabhisha. Go, sa, si, su. Purva Bhadrapada. Se, so, da, di. Uttara Bhadrapada. Dhru, tha, jha, thra, or dha in some lists. And finally, Revati. De, do, cha, sometimes cha also, chi. Note on variants. Entries like va or ba, ju or ki reflect coexisting schools. Some panchangas and regional lineages prefer the first, others the second. Okay, and very few cases it is like that. For further analysis, I will treat only one Sanskritic base akshara per pada. For example, va rather than ba. Okay, primary phonetic rules behind the mapping, the conformal mapping that we're talking about with the sound to the nakṣatra pada from the table and traditional explanations is like this. Swara Siddhanta Sarvato Bhadrachakra Nama Nakshatra Paddhati. These three texts. One can reconstruct three main levels of phonetic logic: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Let's start with the primary. Primary rules for akshara type and simplicity. Single open akshara, no coda. Almost all seeds are of the form vowels, o, or consonant vowels, la, bhu, etc. Right? There are almost no initial consonant clusters like nya, tra. These are rare exceptions, like in Uttara Bhadrapada, we saw already 3, 4, and are themselves treated as single aksharas in Sanskrit orthography anyway. Second primary reason, use of basic vowels only. Dominant nuclei, a, I, u, e, o, diphthongs, I, and syllabics never appear directly as seed sounds. No names are required to begin with ru, au, etc. This aligns with their role in traditional shiksha as structurally central vowels, whereas vocalic r, l, and diphthongs are more marked and rarer as initial aksharas. Third primary reason, even spread across vargas, across the 108 syllables, you see representatives of most major consonant classes: k, g, ñ, ch, ch, j, ñ, th, th, da, th, th, d, da, na, p, bh, ma, p, v, sh, sh, s, h. This suggests a deliberate attempt to sample the entire varṇamālā in the most conducive way to make the Sarvato Bhadrachakra and related schemes cover all akshara spaces rather than clustering around a few consonants in a few groups. No factions. Fourth primary reason, preference for high sonority, clear onsets. Many seeds begin with liquids and semi-vowels like r, l, v, y, or nasals like m, n, which are acoustically prominent and easy to hear at word onset in recitation when somebody calls out. Immediately respond. Second, secondary rules we look at. Distribution of vowels within a nakṣatra. Within a single nakṣatra, the four pādas usually share either the same consonant with different vowels or a tightly related consonant set. Let's see some examples so you'll understand. You can see the table again besides me. Magha, nakṣatra, ma, mu, me. Same onset, ma. Vowel moves through front, back, and height. Purva Phalguni. Let's take that example. You can see again in the table. Ta, ti, tu. Ta, ti, tu, mu. Keeps earlier Leo, mo continuity, later three fixed consonant with varying vowels. Vishaka. Ti, tu, te, to. All dental with different vowels, ordered roughly as high front, the high back, mid front, mid back. This reflects a musical swara sense. Seed sounds used as notes across the four pādas. Visible in Sarvato Bhadra and in the high-low note distinction. Some authors make lowercase versus uppercase to mark hrashva or dirgha, and intend that names within one nakṣatra form a recognizable acoustic family, even if pādas differ. Third, tertiary rules. We finished primary and secondary, now tertiary. Marked segments and symbolic placement. Some more marked phonemes are placed in nakṣatras whose traditional gunas fit their field. Within quotes. Retroflexes no appear strongly in Leo Virgo region, Maga, Phalguni, Hasta, etc., which are associated with royal, fiery, and authoritative deities, Pitrus, Bhaga, Aryaman, and Savitra, perhaps echoing the hardness and emphatic quality of retroflexes. Harsh aspirates and rare stops like k, d, j, ch, k are few and placed in more intense or transformative nakṣatras such as Ardra, Kushi, Shravana, Purva Shada, Uttara Bhadrapada, etc. This is more symbolic than strictly phonetic, but the pattern is consistent across modern tables. Now let's look at repetition of seed sounds across pādas using a consistent Sanskritic set. Main forms, not the verb alternates that I already talked about because of Bengalis. The 108 slots actually contain 105 distinct aksharas. 3 are repeated in 2 pādas each. With the Himalayan Academy list as the baseline, because there are few modifications between this and the others, the overlaps in this case are Wo, for example, appears for both Rohini Pada number 4 and Mrigashirsha Pada number 2. K, for example, appears for Mrigashirsha Pada 4 and Punarvasu Pada 1. Ra, for example, appears for Chitra Pada 3 and Swati Pada 3. These are the only exceptions. These minor duplications likely arose when harmonizing different regional traditions into a single 27 by 4 grid, and were tolerated because practical naming always allowed some flexibility. कुछ तो कर दो यार. Using nearby vowels or related consonants within the same nakṣatra. What counts as unused consonant or vowel CV combinations? If we take the classical Sanskrit inventory, roughly 33 consonants into 13 to 14 vowels plus possible clusters, the 108 Nama Nakshatra Aksharas cover only a small subset of possible consonant vowel combinations. Important broad categories that are not used as initial seeds include, for example, number one, vowels and vocalics not used as seeds are not assigned as initial aksharas. Example, diphthongs like I, au. No name is required to begin with I or au as its first akshara. Second, vocalic consonant like r, r, l, l, though very common in medial positions in between the name, kru, smritihi, etc., they are disfavored at absolute onset for naming seeds. However, Rishi is a name like that. Names in this category, no direct 108 seed match. Rishabha, for example, Rithambara, and girl's name, Rituja, or Audumbara, or Aindri, let's say, or Aushadhi, if somebody wants to be named medicine. In practice, such names are either mapped by ignoring the initial diphthong and using the following consonant vowel. Example, O, Dhu, Dhu, or matched to a closest vowel seed, or a for a or I or au, depending on local paramparas. Secondly, aspirated and rough stops largely omitted. How many theoretically possible combos are not used amongst the 108, especially kha, gha, with their full series ka, kiki, kuku, keke, kau, kam, ka, except for a couple of appearances in Ardra, Ku, and Shravana, Cha, as distinct from Cha, Ja, as distinct from Ja, Pa, Dha, Pa, Bha. Only a few of these aspirated sounds appear: cha, ja, dha, dha, pa, etc. Traditional names starting with these include Kaghendra, the king of crows, Khyati, Ghanashyama, Janvi, Dhruva, Phanishwara, Phanindra. Such names are usually treated by taking the underlying akshara of the unaspirated partner for mapping. Example, ka is mapped onto ka, the is mapped onto the, following the principle that aspiration is a secondary feature, or using the last full consonant in the cluster as the effective akshara. For example, in khyati, kya is what it's starting with. Instead, we take ya as the starting, as explicitly taught in some naming guides also. Many of them reliable. Third one, consonant cluster CCV as onsets, true cluster onsets, common in actual Sanskrit names, are not represented as separate seeds. Shri, for example, Ksha, for example, Nya, for example, Stri, for example, Sta, for example. Varaha Mihira style Nama analysis and modern expositions explicitly instruct that in a compound akshara, yuktakshara as it is called, only the last consonant is taken for mapping. Preceding consonants are half letters and therefore ignored. Thus, Shrikantha, the last consonant of the first akshara Shri, is Ra. Shri, Sha plus Ra, linked to a Ra, Ri, Ru seed, Chitra third or Swati 3. Kshama, for example, Ksha is what it's starting with. Last consonant of the cluster Ksha is Ksha, is Sha, often mapped via the Sa or Sha or Ka series depending on local systems. Jnanadeva, for example. Last consonant of the first syllable, nya, is ng or rarely ja, j. Many schools simply take ja, aligning with ja or ji. Seeds in Uttarashada. So, cluster initial names are not truly uncovered. They are reduced to a simple consonant vowel seed via akshara in ternal rules. Fourth, vocalic r inside cluster names like Krishna or Smriti, Prithvi, Kripa begin phonetically with consonant vocalic r or combinations which never appear as 108 seeds. Traditionally, for Nama nakṣatra, some lineages ignore the vocalic quality and map kra as kra, k or k as r, depending on whether they emphasize onset or vowel. Others treat r as equivalent to ri or ru and map via r closest slot, rishabha, ri, a seed like re. Again, the 108 seed list that you see here deliberately avoids such more complex syllabic structure. Why many CV combinations are not primary seeds, putting the above together, we can outline reasons for non-inclusion of large parts of the phonetic space. First of all, focus on canonical easy aksharas. The system is not trying to exhaust all consonant vowel combinations. It is defining a canonical grid of auspicious, easy, mantra like syllables that can stand as japa worthy bijas, seeds, when a name is repeated again and again by the person and the others. Handling of complexity by reduction rules. Complex onsets like clusters, aspirates, vocalics, we saw the examples of which, are mapped to an underlying simple akshara using rules like take the last full consonant in the cluster. Thus, from the perspective of Nama nakṣatra, those extra consonant vowels are not independent. They reduce to one of the 108. Third, metaphysical vowel consonant symbolism, Shaiva and Upanishadic treatments of varṇamālā, Shiva's Dhamru making the sounds, see vowels as Shiva Shakti seed and consonants as manifesting yoni. Creation proceeds by combining a limited set of primary vowels with consonantal wombs. The 108 seeds mirror this metaphysics. They are a minimal spanning set of aksharas sufficient for divinatory and mantra purposes, not a phonetic atlas. The fourth reason, practical name availability. As even Subramanian's Himalayan Academy notes, some syllables, like for example, da in Purvashadha 4, yield very few traditional names. So it is common to broaden to close variants like dha, dha, or even another pāda of the same nakṣatra. This pragmatic looseness or flexibility, rather, also reduces the need to fill every last theoretical consonant vowel slot. Examples of traditional names outside the 108 pure seeds. Here are a few illustrative classes of traditional names whose initial phonetics fall outside the strict 108 grid and how they are usually treated. Diphthong, for example. Vocalic vowel onset Aishwarya, Oshadha, Rishabha, Prithvi. We saw these examples earlier. Mapped via Shva, Sh, Tha, Pra to an underlying seed such as Sh, Sh, Tha, Pa, Ra, depending on the school. Strong aspirate onset. Phanindra, Phanisha, Dhruva, Ghanashyama. I am purposely stressing the aspiration a little more. Pa to Pa, class Dhru to often Dhru or Ru, seeds. Gha mapped to Ga or Kha, series, depending again on Parampara, traditions. Next, we look at the cluster. Shra, Ksha, Tra onsets, like Srinivasa, Govinda, Shri Harsha, Kshetrapala, Trilochana. Wonderful names, lovely names. Handled by using last consonant of the first akshara. Ri, Sha, Tha, Ra. Tha or Ra, which corresponded to seeds like Ri, Chitra 4, Sa, Sha, Shatabisha 2, or Hasta 2, Tha like Swati 4 or Vishaka group. From the standpoint of the naming Jyotishi, these are not exceptions. They are simply names whose effective initial akshara for mapping to Janma Nakshatra Pada is embedded rather than overt. Hidden, coded, cryptology, phonetic logic, a concise synthesis putting it all together. The mapping from Janma Nakshatra Pada to naming syllable obeys primary level, restrict to a curated set of 108 to 112 simple open aksharas covering the major places and manners of articulation and the main vowels. Avoid complex or marginal vowels and clusters. Secondary level. Within each nakshatra, choose 4 related syllables often the same consonant, but sometimes different. But with the same consonant, different vowels, of course, producing an internal swara pattern that is easy to chant and recognize. Finally, tertiary level logic is to allow symbolic placement of harder consonants and retroflexes in nakshatras whose deities and gunas resonate with their acoustic character. That is the basic idea, mapping, and treat all other actual name onsets by reduction to one of these 108 seeds via akshara level rules. So this yields a system that is phonologically economical, ritually workable, and flexible enough to accommodate the enormous diversity of real Sanskrit and vernacular names, while still letting a Jyotishi infer the Janma Nakshatra Pāda from the first sound in traditional practice. Here is the same set of 108 Nama Nakshatra seed aksharas now grouped by place of articulation plus a pure vowel group. Using the standard list we analyzed earlier, for each syllable, note which nakshatra pada it belongs to. Pure vowel onsets, no consonant, only vowel. These are the only 5 syllables that begin with a vowel alone. A for Kritika Pada 1. I for Kritika Pada 2. W for Kritika Pada 3. A for Kritika Pada 4. And O for Rohini Pada 1. Only 5. Simple vowels. Kritika thus uniquely spans the short cardinal vowels, with Rohini taking the remaining cardinal, being the next nakshatra in the series. O as a pure vowel onset. Next, gutturals, veilers. K, G, G, Na, right? Guttural seeds, 13 total, are concentrated in Mrigashirsha, Ardra, Punarvasu, Shravana, and Dhanishta. Shatabisha also. Ka, for example, Mrigashirsha, Pada 3. K, Mrigashirsha, Pada 4. Punarvasu, Pada 1. Ko, Punarvasu, Pada 2. Ku, Ardra, Pada 1. Gha, Ardra, Pada 2. Nya, Ardra, Pada 3. Gha, Shravana, Pada 4. Often written Gha or Go in practical charts. Ga, Dhanishta, Pada 1. Gi, Dhanishta, Pada 2. Gu, Dhanishta, Pada 3. Ge, Dhanishta, Pada 4. Go, Shatabhisha, Pada 1. These cover the full Velar series. Unaspirated K, aspirated G, nasal N plus G, with vowels A, A, O, U. Back distribution. Palatals next. Ch, Ch, J, J. Plus Nya, C series. Seeds 12 total occur mainly in Ashwini, Ardra, Revati, Uttarashada, Shravana, Uttarabhadrapada. Chu, for example, Ashwini Pada 1. J, Ashwini Pada 2. Cho, Ashwini Pada 3. Ch, Ardra Pada 4. Commonly used as Cha. Cha, Revati Pada 3. Chi, Revati Pada 4. Ja, Uttarashada Pada 3. Ji, Uttarashada Pada 4. Ju, Shravana Pada 1. J, Shravana Pada 2. Jo, Shravana Pada 3. Nya, Uttara Bhadrapada Pada 3. So this cluster nicely shows the palatal series cha, cha, ja, nya with high and mid vowels. Nya is the only explicit conjunct onset treated as a single akshara. Now let's look at the retroflexes. Very interesting. Th, th, d, d, n. Retroflex series seats, 13 total, cluster strongly around Pushya, Ashlesha, Purva Phalguni, Uttara Phalguni, Hasta, Purva Ashada. Da, for example, Pushya, Pada 4. D, for example, Ashlesha, Pada 1. Do, Ashlesha, Pada 2. De, Ashlesha, Pada 3. Do, Ashlesha, Pada 4. Da, Purvashada, Pada 4. Ta, Purva Phalguni, Pada 2. T, Purva Phalguni, Pada 3. Tu, Purva Phalguni, Pada 4. Te, Uttara Phalguni, Pada 1. To, Uttara Phalguni, Pada 2. Tha, Hasta, Pada 4. Now, Hasta, Pada 3. You can see a nearly complete retroflex top row here. Unaspirated third, aspirated third, and nasal n with a rich spread of vowels. Dentals, th, n, th. Dental series seats, 18 total, constitute the largest single place group, spanning Swati, Vishaka, Anuradha, Jyeshta, Purvashada, Purva Bhadrapada, Uttara Bhadrapada, Revati, Ta, Swati, Pada 4. Ti, Vishaka, Pada 1. Tu, Vishaka, Pada 2. Te, Vishaka, Pada 3. To, Vishaka, Pada 4. Tha, Uttara Bhadrapada, Pada 2. Dha, Purva Ashadha, Pada 2. Dha, Purva Bhadrapada, Pada 3. Dhi, Purva Bhadrapada, Pada 4. Du, Uttara Bhadrapada, Pada 1. The, Uttara Bhadrapada, Pada 4. De, Revati Pada 1. Do, Revati Pada 2. Na, Anuradha Pada 1. Ni, Anuradha Pada 2. Nu, Anuradha Pada 3. Ne, Anuradha Pada 4. No, Jyeshtha Pada 1. So, the naming grid uses all the core dental stops, no exceptions. Th, 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 and nasal na, with a variety of vowels, especially in the Scorpio Pisces quarter. Labials. P, b, b, m. Labial seeds, 16 total, are concentrated in Magha, Purva Phalguni, Uttara Phalguni, Hasta, Chitra, Moola, Purva Ashada, Uttara Ashada. Ma, for example, Magha Pada 1. Mi, Magha pada 2. Magha pada 3. Me, Magha pada 4. Mo, Purva Phalguni pada 1. Pa, Uttara Phalguni pada 3. P, Uttara Phalguni pada 4. Pu, Hasta pada 1. Pe, Chitra pada 1. Po, Chitra pada 2. Ba, Mula pada 3. B, Mula pada 4. Bu, Purva Ashada pada 1. Bha, Purva Ashada pada 3. Be, Uttara Ashada pada 1. Bo, Uttara Ashada pada 2. Note how Leo, Virgo, Magha and the Phalgunis all the way up to Hasta are especially rich in ma, pa, bha labials, lip sounds, giving a strong full resonance to word onset. Semivowels, ya, ra, la, va. Semivowel onsets, ya, ra, la, va, form the largest single consonantal class in the grid. 20 seats, my dear friends, covering Bharani, Ashwini, Rohini, Mrigashirsha, Chitra, Swati, Jyeshta, Mula, 8 nakshatras. L series, La, Bharani, Ashwini, Pada 4, La, Ashwini, Pada 4, Li, Bharani, Pada 1, Lu, Bharani, Pada 2, Le, Bharani, Pada 3, Lo, Bharani, Pada 4. Now let's look at the Va series. Rohini plus Mrigashirsha, Va, Rohini Pada 2 and V, Rohini Pada 3. Vo, Rohini Pada 4, Mrigashirsha Pada 2. Ve, Mrigashirsha Pada 1. Now let's look at the Ra series in the semivowels. Chitra plus Swati. Ra, Chitra Pada 3, Swati Pada also 3. Ri, Chitra Pada 4, Ru, Swati Pada 1, Re, Swati Pada 2. Finally, in the semivowels, Ya series. Jyeshta plus Mula. Ya for Jyeshta Pada 2, E for Jyeshta Pada 3, U for Jyeshta Pada 4, Ye for Mula Pada 1, Yo for Mula Pada 2. This shows clearly how the grid spreads liquids and glides across several Rashi sectors, ensuring plenty of soft, resonant starting sounds for names. Next, sibilants and her. Sir, sh, and her. The sibilant plus her group have 11 seats. 11 lies mainly in Punarvasu, Pushya, Hasta, Shatabisha, Purva Bhadrapada. Her series, let us look at. Punarvasu and Pushya have the her series. Ha is in Punarvasu Pada 3. He is in Punarvasu Pada 4. Who is in Pushya Pada 1. He is in Pushya Pada 2. Ho is in Pushya Pada 3. Sh, not sh, but sh. Hasta, sha, Hasta Pada 2. Next, Sa series. Shatabisha and Purva Bhadrapada. Sa is in Shatabisha Pada 2, Si, Shatabisha Pada 3, Su, Shatabisha Pada 4, Se, Purva Bhadrapada Pada 1, So, Purva Bhadrapada Pada 2, you can see that her provides a full mini paradigm in Gemini, Cancer, Punarvasu to Pushya, two adjacent nakshatras of Guru and Shani, while Sha and Sha dominate in late Aquarius to Pisces, Shatabhisha, Purvabhadra, Hasta. Here is a compact quantitative summary first, then a place by place gap analysis. We do research gap analysis. Here we are doing name gap analysis, tied back to how those unused consonant vowel combos are typically handled in Nama Nakshatra practice. So here is how I would like to summarize by place of articulation using the standard 108 akshara set we just organized. The place of articulation, the main consonants represented as seeds, then the number of seed syllables, and approximate share of the 108 in a percentage sense. Okay, so pure vowels only, no onset consonants, 5 of them, so only 5%. Guttural or velar, k, g, g, ñ, 13 of them, 12%. Palatal, ch, ch, j, ñ, 12 of them, 11%. Retroflex, t, th, d, d, n, 13 of them, 12%. Dental, th, 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 n, 18 of them, 17%. Labial, p, b, b, m, 16 of them, 15%. Semi-vowels, y, r, l, v, 20 of them, 19%. Sibilant, h, s, sh, h, ksha, 10%. You can see the system is semi-vowel heavy, then dental, labial, with each plosive varga reasonably represented, but far from exhaustive overall CV, that is consonant vowel combinations. Gaps and how unused consonant vowel combos are treated. Next, I will list for each place or group the main missing or underrepresented consonants and consonant vowel patterns and relate them to practical treatment in naming, how they are collapsed onto the 108. Pure vowels present are a, e, u, a, o as independent onsets. Absent as seeds are I, au, r, 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 r. Names beginning with I and au, like Aishwarya, Audumbara, are typically mapped by taking the next consonant's akshara. Aishwarya case shwa, d, etc. Or approximating the diphthong to AO or using an AO vowel seed like in Kritika Rohini, TYP. Names starting with Ru like Rishi, vocalic, Rishabha, for example, or Rutuja, are usually reduced to Ri, Ru type and mapped via Ri, Ru, or mapped by their consonants like sh, th, etc. Ignoring the vocalic as a separate onset. So those CV slots are intentionally not seeded. They are handled by reduction rather than needing their own 108 entries. Gutturals, k varga, represented are k, ka, ke, ko, ku. Vigashirsha, Punarvasu, Ardra. Ga, ga, gi, gu, ge, go, Dhanishta, and Shatabhisha. Gha, Gha, Ardra. Gha in Shravana in some lists. Na, Na, A type once in Ardra 3. Gaps, entire K series missing as independent seeds. Ka, Ke, Ko, Ki, Ku, etc. The aspirated one. No full Gharo, only Gha and one Shravana form. No Gi, Gu, Ge, etc. Treatment in names. Names like Khagendra, Khyati, or Khagol, very famous names. K is taken as phonologically close to K instead of K. Many Nama Paddhatis explicitly treat aspiration as secondary and map K to K for purposes of nakṣatra syllables. Names with G like Ghanishyam or Ghosha often mapped via G seeds or via G only in traditions that explicitly allow G as belonging to the same slot as G or K. Thus, the grid does not need separate K rows. Aspirated gutturals are folded into existing K or G seeds. Palatals, cha varga, palatal ja nya, represented. Cha cha, chu che, cho cha, cha chi, ju je, jo ja ji, nya, all ones. Gaps are the ja series, absent as independent seeds, be it ja, ji, ju, etc. Sh, palatal, never appears as simple onset. Only sa and sh are explicitly seeded. The sh with the tongue around. Treatment is names like Janvi or Jilbil. J is normally treated as the voiced aspirated partner of J than aspirated. So mapped via J, G, G sounds, Uttarashada 3 and 4, rather than needing separate J slots, aspirated slots. Names with Sh, Shri, Shankara, Sh is usually collapsed to Sa or Sh, and clusters like Shra follow the take the last full consonant in the Akshara rule, effectively an R sound, because sh is removed because it's half, R is the full consonant first, mapped via R series sounds. Here again, the more marked palatals like J and Sh are absorbed into simpler J, S, Sh, or R seeds. Retroflexes, the T varga is the most interesting, are actually well represented. T, T, D, D, N all appear with multiple vowels, the two. Gaps, no independent da, ra, r like retroflex liquids, l, etc. But those are marginal phonemes in classical Sanskrit. How is that treated? The treatment is names like Tripathi, Damru, Takkar, clusters like tr reduced to t or r as per the school. Retroflex t is present as ta. Other vowels like te, etc., are usually approximated using that same seed. Once present, all other vowel combinations with it present. The system is already retroflex rich, so fewer gaps here compared to other places. Now let's look at dentals. The varga. Wide but not exhaustive. Dentals are the most numerous group, 18 seeds, covering the, with a good vowel spread also. gaps, no seeds for some specific short vowel combinations like ti, tu, di, du. Though we do have do, they, though, etc. partly. No explicit cluster onsets like dra, tra, sta, sna. These are very common in Sanskrit names. Treatment for this is names like Trilochana, Dwaraka, Devendra, Dhruva, Tra, Dva, Dra is what they start with. These are decomposed as per nakṣatra or akshara rules. 3 is effectively onset ra in many nama chakras or tha in others. Dva often mapped via va. So unused precise consonant vowel shapes, example 3, dru, dhi, are mapped to existing the, na vowel seeds or to a following semi-vowel seed. This explains why dentals are numerous in the 108. They carry much of the load for mapping complex consonant clusters as well. Labials per varga. Labial coverage is strong, 16 seeds per b, bh, m across mo, me, mu, etc. Gaps are per series, the aspirated, pal, pa, pe, po is almost absent as an independent onset. Only one pa type slot is acknowledged in some Purva Ashada traditions, and even that is often treated as bha in North Indian lists, Uttara Bharat lists. No dedicated cluster initials like pra, bra, bhya, sbra as seeds. What is the treatment for this? Names like Phanindra or Phalgun or Phalguni, all starting with pa, right? So the P class or per class. So pa names are usually mapped via pa, pe, etc., the unaspirated, or via the nearest bha sounds where a pa slot is recognized. Names like Prabhakar or Brahma, br clusters are again reduced. Last full consonant r for some schools or initial labial like per, b for other schools of thought, both of which have rich representation in the 108 that we already saw, the traditional set. So, missing labial clusters and per series are carried by existing per, bh, bh, m seeds. Semivowels y, r, l, v. Semivowels are fully covered and even slightly overrepresented. What are the gaps here? Essentially, none at the level of consonant identity. We have y, r, l, v. Many possible vowel combinations, example, y, yo, you, etc., are not all present. But that is by design. Each semivowel is given a compact mini paradigm rather than a full CV grid, consonant vowel combo grid. What is the treatment for this? Names like Lokanatha or Vrindavana or Rama or Leela are all easily mapped because the onset semivowel la, va, ra, la again exist explicitly in the table. Clusters like shra, vra, kra are commonly mapped via the r or v component as the effective akshara for nakṣatra mapping. In practice, semivowels are where many difficult clusters end up, which explains their high count, domination in fact. Sibilants, her, sir, sh, sh, her represented as her, who, he, ho, he, sa, sa, si, su, se, so, sha, often written as sha though. Gaps, however, are palatals, sh. Sh series has an independent onset. Sh, she, shu is missing. Only dental, alveolar s and retroflex sh, tongue twisted, are seeded. Cluster sibilants, shrs, ths, fs, th, sk, are not given separate seeds. What is the treatment in this case? Names like Shiva, Shrikanta, Shrikanta Shankara. Sh is usually collapsed into s or sh according to local shiksha and tradition. For Shri names, R is often taken as the operative consonant. So they are mapped via S or Sh or Ra or Re seeds. Names like Stanu, Sparsha, St, Sp will usually reduce to Th or P or S for mapping again. All of those have multiple seeds already. Overall patterns versus unused CV combinations. Putting this together with our earlier investigation, first of all, the 108 seeds are a sparse, structured sampling, as you can see, of the Sanskrit consonant vowel space, not an attempt to completeness. Roughly, they choose 1, 2, 3, or 4 aksharas per consonant or consonant class and a limited subset of vowels. They omit complex onsets and marked vowels, knowing they can be folded back to these main seeds by the rule. Secondly, most missing consonant vowel combinations are either aspirated counterparts like k, g, j, p, etc. of already represented unaspirated series, or cluster onsets like shra, ksha, tra, dra, pra, bra, sta, etc. or marginal vowels I, au, onsets. Thirdly, Jyotiṣa practice compensates via reduction rules. The akshara signs behind nama nakṣatra ignore aspiration. K becomes k, j becomes j, p becomes p, map via the unaspirated partner seed. In conjuncts, take the last full consonant in the first akshara. Shri becomes r and tri becomes r or th, and ksha becomes sh or k, and map via that seed. Treat diphthongs and vocalic r as variants of simpler v, I, au become a, o where necessary. And fourthly, functionally, therefore, very few real world Sanskrit or Sanskritic Indic, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Tamil, etc. names are truly outside the 108 grid. They are just not represented by their surface phonetic consonant vowel combo, but by an underlying simplified akshara derived from shiksha based rules. To help a Tamil speaker understand the difference, between da and da, or even da. It's best to use the Tamil script's logic as a bridge. In Tamil, the single letter d covers both t and d, and t and d as well. Sounds, while th covers th, th, th sounds. The confusion usually stems from the fact that both da and da can sound like d to a Tamil ear depending on their position in a word. One, the physical difference, mouth position, da, retroflex, da, tell a Tamilian to curl their tongue back and hit the roof of the mouth. It is the same d sound as in the Tamil word vandi. They know it. Or padam, right? Da, dental da. Tell them to touch the tip of the tongue to the back of the upper teeth. It is the same the sound which is found in the middle of the Tamil word, for example, pand or kadal, more familiar word thanks to movies. Secondly, examples using names. Use these side by side comparisons to your Tamilian friends, including me, to highlight how the meaning or vibe of the name changes. Sound Hindi name, Tamil equivalent logic, pronunciation tip, da, retroflex, damodar, like the d in adi, tongue hits the hard palate, da, dental, damodar, not damodar, but damodar, like the in kandan. Tongue hits the teeth. More name examples would be da versus da. There aren't many actually names starting with the hard da. It's rare for names to start with that, both in Sanskrit as well as Tamil, with retroflexes in all Indo-Aryan languages for that matter. But comparing Deepak, dental da, to a word like digital, English word, retroflex D, helps. Dinesh, my name. This is a dental D. If pronounced with a retroflex D, that is D, it sounds like an English word Dinesh. I'm not dining, right? Rather than a Sanskrit origin name. Dakshin. This is a dental the. The tongue must touch the teeth. The. The English shortcut. Since most Tamil speakers are familiar more than Hindi with English, more than Sanskrit with English, use these markers to teach them. Da, her, hard da, like dog, doctor, daddy. The heavy sound, da, soft, the, like the in the, they, or that. The breathy, soft sound. Fourthly, practice words. Ask your Tamilian friends to say these Tamil words, which they already know, and notice where their tongue goes. It is noticing how the sound is produced. Padam, that d is the retroflex, not dental. Sudhandiram, that the, or as well as the, is the dental, not retroflex. To further help us Tamilian speakers distinguish these sounds, it is useful to categorize common Indian surnames by their starting D sound, d or the. In North Indian languages, surnames starting with the hard da, retroflex, are relatively rare, while the soft da is extremely common, right? Surnames starting with soft da, that is dental, not retroflex. These are pronounced with the tongue touching the back of the upper teeth. Tongue touching the back of the upper teeth, similar to the sound in the Tamil words pandu or sandanam, das, a very common surname across India, damani, common in business communities, dalvi, a prominent Maratha clan name, Dandekar, a common Maharashtrian surname, Daruwala, a Parsi surname, very famous person is named that way, Dayal, often used in North India, Daga, a common Marwari surname. Secondly, surnames starting with hard da, retroflex, not dental. These are pronounced by curling the tongue back to hit the roof of the mouth. The tongue hits the roof, not the teeth. Like the d in the Tamil word vandi, vandi. Note that in many Indian languages, Bharatiya Bhasha, names rarely start with this sound. So you will often see them in English origin or specific regional contexts like darling, dabas, a North Indian Jat surname, dabras, a surname common in Uttarakhand, dangi, a surname found in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, Dahariya, a surname found in central India, Duggal. While this starts with do, it uses the hard do retroflex sound. Comparison for practice. Use the or d sounds shifting between these two positions of teeth and upper palate. Soft dental da, hard retroflex da. Comparison tip das and dabas. Notice the tongue moves from the teeth for das to the roof for dabas. Dhalvi to dabrar. Dhalvi is soft like dalapati or thalapati. Dabralis hard like vandi. Damodar, dangi. Damodar is a soft d. Dangi is a hard d. Quick identification rule for Tamil speakers. If the name is of Sanskrit or Dravidian origin, like Deepak, Dinesh, or Damodar, name of Vishnu in the Sahasranama, it is almost always the dental da sound. If the name sounds like an English word like doctor, dog, or digital, it is the retroflex da sound. To help us Tamilian speakers distinguish these sounds visually, we have to have a side by side comparison of names and surnames. I have not done the table. You can do it yourself using the inputs I have given. In Tamil script, the letter the or th is used for the soft dental sound, while d is used for the hard retroflex da sound. So, common names and surnames, since North Indian names rarely start with the hard retroflex da, most traditional names you encounter will use the soft dha, but exceptions are Dakini or Damari. Hindi dental Tamil equivalent, Hindi retroflex Tamil equivalent, Das, Das, Dabas, Dabas, Deepak, Deepak, Diesel, Diesel, Dinesh, Dinesh, Digital, Digital, Damodar, Damodar, Dangi, Dangi, Deva, Dev, Dundu, Dundu. English origin words are used here as they frequently use the retroflex d sound, which is rare at the start of native Hindi names. My Deutsch or German teacher used to call me Dinesh Kumar. How to see the difference? We can teach our Tamiļian siblings and friends, including me, to recognize the shape of the letters in Devanagari, to know which sound to use. The soft dental the or da look for the tail. The letter the has a tail that curls downwards. When they see this tail, they should think of the soft sound like pandu or tangam or dantam. The hard retroflex da or da look for the S shape. The letter D looks like an English S. When they see this S shape, they should think of the hard sound like Vandi or Padam. Thirdly, let me give you a summary for reference sound type, Devanagari letter, Tamil letter, visual memory trick, and dental soft. The has a tail like a soft kite tail. Retroflex hard the looks like an S, English S, like a snake. Pro tip for Tamil speakers like us: in spoken Tamil, a single d can sound like t at the start of a word, like table can be dable, but sounds like d in the middle, like vandi. When reading Hindi, they must remember. Many people call it Hindi or Modi. It's not Hindi or Modi, my dear friends. It's Hindi or Modi. That middle of the word the sound, even at the very beginning of a name. So pranam and dhanyosmi. Hope this helps to get back to proper naming of Sanatana Dharmis, at least, because even the West is so impressed by this and they are adopting Indian names based on nakṣatra pādas. Why not us? Many of my nephews and nieces and friends' children and colleagues' children and students' children named by me are doing phenomenally well. Why not you also take that advantage? Namaste.